Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. We'll go ahead and get started with today's guest. Our first question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Great. Well, first, thank you, Sean, for inviting me onto your program. I really appreciate the invitation. So my name is Aaron Safier. I'm the founder and CEO of Sapphire Wealth Advisory Group, which honestly, I think it's a little cute when you put the letters together. It's swag. So I think that's always a nice chuckle people have. But the philosophy of the firm and the basis of what we do is really taking a lot of the complexity out of financial planning. Very often the clients that we work with are individuals that are getting married or having children, buying houses, may have some sort of debt, student debt, mortgage debt, and they just don't know where to begin. They have, and as the old adage, burning the candle from both ends. So what we do is create an infrastructure in a very meaningful way, very strategic way that allows us to create customized solutions, strategies, so that people could live their financial future comfortably and hit their goals and objectives accordingly.
Well, that's certainly always needed. So thank you for your efforts to help people get their finances in order. So that's good.
Sure.
Well, question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
So I really think that answer could be summed up in 3 key words: collaboration, synchronization, and effectiveness. So what I mean by that is working together as a team. Collaboration involves creativity, putting minds together, people that could complement one another because of their perspective on certain projects. Synchronization is when 2 people work separately, they're not as effective as if they work together. And being able to work in tandem with each other could create a bigger project, a bigger result than working independent of one another. And obviously being effective is being able to be impactful in whatever your goals and objectives are, whether it be completing a project, building a business, or anything in between.
I really like those. Those are great 3 key words to use with regard to teams and their benefits. So great information. Question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell us your thoughts.
So obviously as a leader, and I would imagine for many people, there are times that it could be challenging, but there's a certain level of compassion and empathy that leaders should have when working with individuals, because as we know, we're all human, especially in today's day and age with what's going on in the world. We are all human, and people have circumstances that may redirect their attention elsewhere. A good leader, a great leader, is one that understands the inner emotions of what make people do certain things, but at the same time, being effective is really about asking people their opinions, keeping them engaged, even giving them projects that they could lead on their own, knowing that you have the final say, but giving them that sense of leadership and helping them adhere to a certain quality, a certain stage in their career that they may want to accomplish. So keeping people involved in a way that allows them to utilize creativity, their own leadership skills, but learning from the leader at large to better their circumstances accordingly.
Those are some great ideas on engagement and helping the team members feel included. Great information. Question number 4, what other piece of advice would you offer to leaders of teams?
So, I mean, it's a great question, and I'll answer the question in no particular order of priority or importance, but truthfully, a leader should not necessarily give a task to somebody that they would not do themselves. Lead by example. And at the same time, if there's ever a circumstance, a very turbulent period, the difference between a good leader and a great leader is, are they going to put themselves in front of their team in the sense of protecting their team members, or putting their team members in front of them to protect their own personal interest? So, and the last one that I'll also share is, remember to be humble and don't forget where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
because nobody is born necessarily a true and great leader. It does take a certain amount of development.
Absolutely.
But key points that one should ask themselves when giving a task to a team member, whether it be a first-year associate or somebody that's a seasoned individual, if the true leader is not going to do that, would not do that task themselves, then it may not even make sense to give it to them altogether.
Mm. Great
And
point. Oh, go ahead. Keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. And also at the same time, beyond everything else, be open for questions, be open to answers, provide constructive criticism, push people to its fullest potential that you know full well that they could adhere to. And these are some of the key points that I'm always happy to share, and things that I've learned from leaders that I've listened to on the radio or on podcasts or books that they've written.
Those are great concepts, and certainly all of us are always learning about how we can do things a little bit better, especially when it comes to leadership. So,
Sure.
question number 5, what other successful team leaders, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
So for someone that likes to read about a lot of leaders that have existed either in the past or exist today, I don't want to highlight any particular person, but in a general sense, there are a number of noted authors whose books I've read, such as Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Earl Nightingale, Simon Sinek, and they all have great messages that I feel, whether you're a leader or an aspiring leader or someone that is new to the workforce, they all have very key messages. All their messages are very important, and they can resonate with everybody differently. But I believe that the common denominator is simply pushing yourself beyond what you think your potential actually is.
Mm, that is great. That is great. Well, question number 6, tell us about your first job.
My first job, so thinking way back when, was actually unrelated to business per se, but it was working as a lifeguard in summer camp. It was one of the higher paying staff jobs, working the least amount of hours and having a lot of fun being in the sun. And at the same time, having the ability to make extra cash while giving private swim lessons. So there was already that entrepreneurial mindset of how to make more money and doing as little bit of work as possible. But that was my first job way, way, way back in the day.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, Aaron, for being on the podcast. How can people find you?
People could find me on my website, which is www.sapphirewealthbuilders.com. Or they could find me on my LinkedIn page, Sapphire Wealth Advisory Group, or they could find me, Aaron Safier, Safier, on LinkedIn, and look forward to hearing from everybody soon.
Great, thank you. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.
Thank you, Sean. Take care.